Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Janaballabha Girirvaradhari. Gopi Janaballabha Girirvaradhari. Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Janaballabha Girirvaradhari. Jaya Gopi Janaballabha Girirvaradhari. Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Prabhupada. So tonight we're going to start on the Braj level and work our way down to the Mathura level. We'll go backwards because we want to highlight the end of the third chapter of the 10th canto, the birth of Lord Krishna, which ends with Krishna being transferred to Braj. Om Jnana Chimanandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this is the 53rd verse of the 3rd chapter. Yashoda Nandapatni Cha Jatam Param Abhudyata Natal Lingam Parishranta Nijaya Bhagata Smriti. Exhausted by the labor of childbirth, Yashoda was overwhelmed with sleep and unable to understand what kind of child had been born to her. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Nanda Maharaj and Vasudev were intimate friends, and so were their wives, Yashoda and Devaki. Although their names were different, they were practically non-different personalities. That's how close they were. The only difference is that Devaki was able to understand that the Supreme Personality of Godhead had been born to her and had now changed into Krishna, whereas Yashoda was not able to understand what kind of child had been born to her. So what you're hearing is how Devaki is on the Mathura platform. She's nearing the Braj platform, but not fully there. Whereas Yashoda is totally on the Braj platform. And so you're hearing that although they're so close, Devaki and Yashoda, and actually another name for Yashoda is Devaki. So even they shared the same name. Yashoda doesn't know that Krishna's Supreme Personality of Godhead, doesn't want to know about it. Whereas Devaki was able to understand, this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and this is also my son. So there are 3 levels of knowledge. There is knowledge of impersonal Brahman. As I hope you understand, the impersonal manifestation is an aspect of Krishna's form, an aspect of his personality. As I often explain, just like you as a person know how to be impersonal, your impersonal behavior is based on your being a person. So, the first level of knowledge, the first level of jnana, is to understand the impersonal Brahman. And then, with a mixture of reverence and awe, you can understand the opulences of the Supreme Absolute Truth. Aishvarya Purna, this level is called. You understand how Bhagavan is full of opulences. Just like Krishna explains to Uddhava in the 11th canto, that you can, not you, but Krishna can count all the atoms in all the universes. But Krishna himself cannot count all his vibhutis, all his opulences, because they are always expanding. He knows them, and then they expand. And he knows them again, and they expand. So in the second stage of jnana, which is mixed with awe and reverence, knowledge of Krishna's opulences, it is not as sublime as the third stage, which is called Aishvarya Shiptila, pure affection for Krishna, in which the devotee doesn't care to see anything in Krishna but the beloved. So Devaki, as you heard, could understand the Supreme Personality of God has been born to her. He had 4 arms holding conch, disc, club, and lotus. She could understand this is the Supreme Personality of God. But she'll ask, please change into a human-like form. Because she's worried, how am I going to hide a 4-armed baby? Who will believe me when I say that the Supreme Personality of Godhead has taken birth as my son? And how will I protect my child from Kamsa? How can I hide my child when he has 4 arms? She was so afraid of Kamsa that even though she knew her son was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, she thought, I have to protect him. I have to do something so that Kamsa doesn't get him. Now Krishna is thinking that if I disappear, and Kamsa hears that the child's been born but he's disappeared, that'll make it bad for Devaki. Kamsa will beat her, he'll do something horrible. Where's the son? Where's the baby? But Devaki, as a pure devotee, is thinking, never mind what may happen to me, I must protect my child. So she's got both syndromes. She recognizes this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. At the same time, this is my son. Whereas Yashoda simply thinks, my son. So that's what Prabhupada is describing in this purport. He's bringing us, in this last verse of the 3rd chapter, he's bringing us to understand Kevala Bhakti, the pure love that's there in Vrindavan, in which the devotees, even if they see Krishna do something wonderful, they never think he's God. Krishna wants it that way. Yashoda was such an advanced devotee that she never regarded Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but simply loved him as her own child. Devaki, however, knew from the very beginning that although Krishna was her son, he was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Vrindavan, no one regarded Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When something very wonderful happened because of Krishna's activities, the inhabitants of Vrindavan, the cowherd men, the cowherd boys, Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda, and the others were surprised, but they never considered their son Krishna the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sometimes they suggested that some great demigod had appeared there as Krishna. In such an exalted status of devotional service, a devotee forgets the position of Krishna and intensely loves the Supreme Personality of Godhead without understanding his position. This is called Kevala Bhakti and is distinct from the stages of Jnana and Jnanamayi Bhakti. So remember, we were talking about the first stage of Jnana is appreciating the impersonal Brahman. Then the next stage is Jnanamayi Bhakti, in which you understand there's a Supreme Personality of Godhead with opulences, Aishvarya. But this is Kevala Bhakti, in which the Brijvasis simply want to love Krishna. So the other day, some of you may recall, we read from a lecture Srila Prabhupada was giving, where he explains more about this Kevala Bhakti, this pure love without even concern to know Krishna's opulences. Now you have to keep in mind that that's the Rag Bhakti level. You have to begin with Sadhana Bhakti, and then firmly knowledgeable of Krishna's opulences, his glories, you can proceed to the Braj level. But to jump over understanding Krishna's opulences is very dangerous, because you would make the mistake of thinking Krishna is an ordinary person. So Srila Prabhupada speaks. Just like Kunti Devi. Kunti Devi is not an inhabitant of Vrindavan. She is an inhabitant of Hastinapur, outside Vrindavan. The outside devotees, the devotees who are outside Vrindavan, they are studying the inhabitants of Vrindavan. How great they are. But the inhabitants of Vrindavan don't care to know how great is Krishna. That is the difference. So our business is simply to love Krishna. The more you love Krishna, the more you become perfect. It is not that it is necessary to understand Krishna, how he has created. The things are mentioned here in Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna is explaining himself in the Bhagavad Gita so much. Don't bother very much to know Krishna. That is not possible. Simply increase your unalloyed love for Krishna. That is the perfection of life. Thank you very much. So you might think, well, we don't have to try to understand Krishna, but you have to understand the level that Srila Prabhupada is addressing when he says like that. He explained that his books contain everything for all levels of devotees, from the most neophyte to the most advanced. The example he gave was his books are like a pharmacy, which contains prescriptions for all types of people with all kinds of ailments. So we've heard about Yashoda Mai. She knew that she had given birth, but whether her offspring was a boy or a girl, she didn't know. Why? Because of the labor of childbirth. After the birth, feeling relief from the labor pains, what did she do? She slept and lost consciousness. Now there's a hidden fact that's spoken about very tactfully in the Shastras, that Krishna was simultaneously born to Devaki and Yashoda. One explanation is that Yashoda, her very name means to give fame. She gave her fame to Devaki so that Devaki would become famous as the mother of Krishna. We already explained how Nanda Maharaj's wife had two names, Yashoda and Devaki. So Yashoda Mai had great friendship with Devaki, the wife of Vasudeva. So her name, Yashoda, indicates that the appearance of her son would spread the fame of Nanda Maharaj and Braj. Nanda means what? Joy, bliss. So Nanda Maharaj would give joy to the whole world by the appearance of his son. So Nanda Maharaj was bliss personified, as his very name says, because with the appearance of his son, the whole world would be joyful. And who? Yashoda, that's the wife of Nanda Maharaj. She's known as Nanda Patni. That means she's the wife of the one who causes bliss for the whole universe. So since Nanda Maharaj is her husband, her fame would also spread. But she's Yashoda, giving glory, giving fame. So after childbirth, she's extremely exhausted, which you could understand is a natural outcome. Why didn't she remember about what the gender, she didn't actually remember the number of children she had given birth to? This is said by the acharyas to be the influence of Yoga Nidra, mystic slumber produced by the Yoga Maya energy. So by the influence of Yoga Nidra, which is a special kind of sleep, divinely originated, she lost her memory. And her assistants, the ladies who were assisting her, were also under the influence of Yoga Nidra. So no one could remember what she gave birth to. They were knocked out. She, Yashoda Mai, by the exhaustion from childbirth, and the others, her assistants, they were under the influence of the Yoga Nidra energy, just like was Yashoda Mai. So Yashoda Mai is known for giving birth to a daughter. But the mystery, the secret is that she had given birth before to Krishna. That's why the Bhagavatam describes Yoga Maya, when the daughter is taken to Mathura, she's described as the younger sister of Krishna. Did you ever wonder about that? Why is that? Because the secret is that Krishna simultaneously, Swayam Bhagavan, simultaneously appeared as the son of Devaki and the son of Yashoda. So these all these depths of intricacies. So that's the secret given in the last verse of the 10th canto, chapter 3. But how does chapter 3 begin? It begins with the scene in Mathura, but first it establishes the scenario for Krishna's appearance. So we're going to talk about that. What is it like on the occasion of Krishna's birth? I'm sure you've read the Krishna book and you understand how everything in the universe was adjusted favorably because Krishna is about to appear. We'll just give you some examples. Although Krishna appeared at midnight, the lilies and lotuses were in full bloom. If you know anything about flowers, you know this is totally unusual and the opposite of what should happen. At night, the lotuses close, but they wanted to be open at midnight to celebrate Krishna's appearance. So therefore, when the wind is blowing at midnight, it's blowing the fragrance of all these lilies and lotuses that were abnormally open at midnight. And the brahmanas are very pleased in making their yajnas. They had been harassed for so long by Kamsa, but now they're free of all anxiety. So if you really want to immerse yourself in the details of how the universe is adjusted because of Krishna's appearance, you can study that in the Krishna book or Srimad Bhagavatam. In short, the circumstances of Satya Yuga were appearing at this end of the Dwapara Yuga because of Krishna's appearance. Krishna appears just before midday of Lord Brahma every day. as you read in Bhagavad Gita, Sahasra Yuga Paryantam. Once every day of Brahma, Krishna appears. So that it's around 11 a.m., between 11 and 12 of Brahma's day, Krishna appears. So every day Brahma sees Krishna appearing. Now, why is Krishna appearing? One statement that Srila Prabhupada makes, which I've been thinking about deeply, he says, the appearance of Lord Krishna is very purposeful. That means it's loaded with different reasons why Krishna appears. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is described that there are 4 basic rasas. Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. And that someone who relishes these rasas subdues the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now you may wonder, what happened to the 5th rasa, Shanta? But often by the Vaishnavacharyas, Shanta rasa is not considered the real beginning of relationship with Krishna. Because Shanta rasa simply means, how great thou art. How great is the Almighty. But it's not a substantial station in that as soon as there's the slightest service, the slightest relationship activity that produces reciprocation, then there's dasharas. So that's why Kaviraj Goswami, in the early chapters of Adi Lila Chaitanya Charitamrita, gives you 4 rasas. And he describes how Krishna wants to demonstrate these rasas. Now, why would Krishna want to do that? Because imperfect life means of being absorbed in these perverted rasas. You can't get away from rasa. You can't get away from appreciation of greatness. You can't get away from serving. You can't get away from friendship. You can't get away from parental affairs. And you can't get away from romantic affairs. But what you see in the material world is an imperfect representation of the pure rasas of the spiritual world. So Krishna wants to show you the real thing. So therefore he comes. Otherwise, how will you know what is perfection and what is imperfection? If Krishna doesn't appear and demonstrate his Braj Leela, look, this is how you feel friendship. This is how you are a servant. This is how you are a lover. I'm showing you the perfection. So then when Krishna has done that sufficiently according to his judgment, he disappears. He doesn't die. He just removes himself from the ordinary vision of the world. Sometimes devotees think that when Krishna appears in this world, he's vacated Goloka Vrindavan. But Krishna is there in Goloka Vrindavan, and simultaneously he's present in the material world. What to speak of being in everyone's heart as a super soul. Someone else may think, how is it that Krishna can appear from the womb of Devaki? Isn't that ordinary? How can you say he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead when he's born from Devaki? But Krishna is everywhere. Why can't he be in the womb? He's in every atom. He's in the core of her heart. So what is the big deal if he comes out of the womb? But he also does that to bewilder the atheist. Just see, an ordinary childbirth. What's the big deal here? But what happens when Vasudeva sees the child who's just been born? He says, I'm shocked with wonder, because he's conscious of the opulences of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ice fire. He says, number one, how can the Supreme Personality of Godhead appear in a prison? He's not feeling hesitant to appear in a prison, because that's where Vasudeva and Devaki were. They're imprisoned by Kamsa. So Vasudeva is astonished. Krishna's appearing even in a prison? And then he says, furthermore, how can this be that Krishna is all-pervading, yet he appears from the womb of Devaki? He has 4 wonders that are making him shiver. I'm sure you've never shivered with wonder before. Just shiver from cold. But Vasudeva is shivering from wonder. 4 reasons. How can Krishna appear in a prison cell? And he's all-pervading, yet he comes from the womb of Devaki? Number 3. How is a child born with a full head of hair, fully decorated with clothes and jewels? How can that be? And number 4, Krishna is my worshipable Lord, yet he's appearing as my son. So Vasudeva and Devaki are able to handle both realities, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and Krishna is their son. So they kind of go back and forth about that in their dealings. Whereas the Brijbasis, the residents of Vrindavan, they're on the platform of Kevala Bhakti, pure love without any tinge of knowledge of Krishna's opulences. Just like we were speaking the other day, when the cowherd boys realized that Krishna had swallowed the forest fire, the second forest fire, they began to think, how can Krishna do that? He told us to close our eyes, and then the forest fire is gone, and we're transported from the endangered forest to the base of the Mandira tree, where we can rest with the cows. What happened? Krishna must be a devata. He must be a demigod. But what does that mean? If Krishna is a demigod, we are also, because we're his friends. We're all equal. That's Kevala Bhakti. So we're just giving you aspects of what's going on during Krishna's appearance. There was such fear before Krishna's appearance because the Asuras were acting according to their occupational duty, harassing the devotees. But now everyone's mind is peaceful. The devotees, that is, their mind is peaceful. For the Asuras, inauspicious symptoms are happening. So sometimes it's said that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, situated in the core of everyone's heart, appeared from the heart of Devaki. So you can't understand this biologically. How from the heart he appeared from her womb. You can understand that first Krishna appeared in the consciousness, in the heart of Vasudeva. And from the heart of Vasudeva, Krishna transferred himself to the heart of Devaki and then appeared from her womb. So Krishna's appearance is not the product of seminal injection. He's everywhere in every atom. So as we said before, what's the difficulty for Krishna to appear from the womb? He's in every atom. Then the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, who is situated in the core of everyone's heart, appeared from the heart of Devaki in the dense darkness of night, like the full moon rising on the eastern horizon, because Devaki was in the same category as Sri Krishna. What does that mean? Devaki, Krishna is Satchidananda, and so is Devaki. She's described as being of the same category as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Devakyam Devarupinyam. So what is the demotion or degradation if Krishna appears from the womb of Devaki, who's Satchidananda? Just as Krishna is eternity, knowledge, and bliss, so is Devaki. So Krishna's not appearing from some contaminated place. Why do you keep hearing examples about the full moon? Especially when normally what was happening in terms of the status of the moon at the time of Krishna's appearance, normally the moon would be in the 8th day of its waning, 8th day of its diminishing. But because Krishna is appearing in the Yadu dynasty, which is part of the Soma Vamsha, the Soma dynasty, headed by the Devata in charge of the moon wanted to show its full glories, even though it was supposed to be the 8th day of the waning moon. The moon says, I want to be a full moon. So when you understand that Devaki is in the same category of quality as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you can understand more deeply the mystery of Krishna's birth. And of course, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tattva. If you can understand the mystery of his appearance in this world, how the unborn seems to take birth, and if you can understand his karma, his activities, which are not forced by the laws of nature, then upon giving up the present body, you don't take another body, you go to Krishna. You don't take another material body. Mahameji, Krishna says, you come to me. So we have to understand the facts of Krishna's appearance. And then we can truly appreciate Janmastami. And then you can progress to the platform of Kevala Bhakti, pure Bhakti, in which you don't care to know about Krishna's glories, you just want to love Krishna. That is a Vrindavan platform. So as we explained, the Lord is Satchidananda Vigraha, and Devaki is also Satchidananda Vigraha. Therefore, no one can find any fault in the way the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Satchidananda Vigraha, appeared from the womb of Devaki. So those who lack knowledge of the science of Krishna are often surprised. How can the Supreme Personality of Godhead take birth like an ordinary child? But the Lord's birth is never ordinary. As we explained several times, Krishna is already in everyone's heart as a super soul. So, because he's present in full potency in Devaki's heart, he's also able to appear outside her body. So Krishna doesn't live like an ordinary child in the heart or the womb. And he did not take birth like an ordinary child through some kind of biological process of being squeezed out of the womb. But he can give that impression in order to bewilder the asuras. That's part of Krishna's mission. You don't want to know me? You want to think I'm mundane? Here's your chance. So Krishna is so expert that he can give the devotees full illumination of who he is and why he's doing what he's doing, and he can at the same time bewilder the asuras. You want to see me as ordinary? Take it. Consider this. I'm born. I appeared from the womb. But for the devotees who know the technology, they understand Devaki has no material body. So the acharyas make a great effort to explain to us that Krishna was not born with pain like a normal child. He appeared like the full moon rising in the eastern sky. When you see the moon rising at night, you don't consider that's a painful event that the moon is going through. It looks so natural and graceful how the moon appears on the eastern horizon. So that poetic example is given to you so that you understand that Krishna's birth has no biological complications or overtones. Now, does Krishna come to Mathura, Vrindavan, and Dwarka because he's never been there before? No, he's always there in the Dham. But sometimes he's manifest to ordinary vision and sometimes not. This is the great mystery of how Krishna never takes a step out of Vrindavan. We talked about the mystery of Krishna. Krishna's being born simultaneously to Devaki and Yashoda. Yashoda, remember, didn't know. She was overwhelmed by the exhaustion from childbirth. And at a deeper level, she was overwhelmed by Yoga Nidra, that mystic potency of Yogamaya. But she had given birth to Krishna. And then she had given birth to her daughter, Yogamaya. So you remember the whole debate between Devaki and Krishna. She wants Krishna to hide. And Krishna's concern is what? If I appear like an ordinary child with two arms, you won't believe I'm the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore your fear of Kamsa will not be relieved. So Krishna's concerned. I can't look like an ordinary child when I'm born, because you won't accept that I'm the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the solution to all your fear. And what is the mother, Devaki, thinking? You're appearing with four arms. That's a problem for me. How can I hide a four-armed baby? What will people say? So here you see the interaction between Devaki and Krishna. So she asks Krishna, please change into your human-like form. So Krishna does that. So then Vasudeva, as you know, is instructed by Krishna, take me to Braj. Why? Because the main reason for Krishna's appearance is to expand the loving affairs of Vrindavan. Yes, he has other purposes. Remember, the descent of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very purposeful. So the basic reasons are given in Bhagavad Gita, Pritranaya Sadhunam Vinashaya Chaduskatam. To deliver the sadhus, and as you know, the sadhus are already delivered, but Krishna wants to delight them with his presence, and to annihilate the miscreants. But Krishna also wants to celebrate the loving affairs of Vrindavan, and he wants to give pleasure to Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. Furthermore, remember the Municharyas, these sages during the time of Lord Ramchandra, who aspired for conjugal love, Madhurya Ras. But that can't be done with Ramchandra. So they had the benediction. They could appear in Krishna Leela, in Braj. So Krishna gave them that facility. All right, take birth as gopis in Braj. I'm coming to Braj. Of course, Krishna actually never leaves Vrindavan. So he leaves Mathura not because he's afraid, but mainly to expand the loving affairs of Braj. So how does he get out of prison? Don't you remember the scene in Kamsa's prison? The doors are bolted with heavy chains and locks. But by the arrangement of Yogamaya, Yogamaya makes the arrangements for the devotees in Krishna Leela. And the covering of Yogamaya, Mahamaya, bewilders the non-devotees. So Yogamaya opened all the huge, heavy doors to the prison, unlocked all the chains, and so Vasudeva puts Krishna in a box that's lined with cloth and holds that little box to his chest, some say on his head, and then he leaves the prison in the middle of the night to cross the Yamuna River in the dark. And it's raining. Why is it raining? Because Indra thinks that I have to give protection to Krishna's escape from the prison, so I'll create a rainstorm. Meanwhile, Ananta Shesh, the serpentine expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or sometimes also a Shakti-Vesh avatar, he expands his hoods in such a way to be like an umbrella. So Vasudeva is wondering, it's raining, but we're not wet. What's going on? So the Yamuna is tossing and turning, and then gradually the Yamuna calms down, because Indra realizes, I don't have to cause this rainstorm to protect Krishna's journey to Braj. So you may wonder, how is it that Vasudeva is able to just walk into Nanda Maharaj's house in the middle of the night? It's because Nanda Maharaj's house is unlocked. That's the nature of Braj. Their opulence is natural. They don't have any fear. They leave the doors unlocked. But also it is said that Nanda Maharaj had some natural barriers around his house, moats filled with water and thorny bushes. So in any case, Vasudeva got past all that and walked into the house and put Krishna there, and then took the daughter of Yashoda and went back. He went back to Mathura. And as soon as he entered the prison, the doors closed behind him. Everything became like it was before. So Vasudeva takes the daughter and puts her not exactly on the lap of Devaki, but puts her nearby, because Vasudeva knew this child is destined, he thought, to be killed by Kamsa. I can't put her on Devaki's lap because it's going to inspire too much attachment. This child is doomed. So you might say, well, how could Vasudeva do that? Exchange his son for the daughter of Yashoda, knowing that by his bringing the daughter back to Mathura, to the prison, when Kamsa wakes up, he's going to kill her. How can he do that? But he's impelled by Yogamaya. Looked at from the ordinary point of view, it's natural you want to protect your child the most. That's human nature. But a deeper reason is Yogamaya's impelling Vasudeva to act in this way. So all this is going on at the time of Krishna's appearance. The amazing thing is that just as Krishna is unborn, so are we. Second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Ajo Nityam Shashvata Yam Purano Nahanyate Hanyamane Sharire. For the soul there is no birth, no death, unborn, primeval, not slain when the body is slain. So we are Aja, unborn, as Krishna is unborn. But our birth in the material world, even though we're unborn, is forced upon us. Whereas Krishna's appearance in this world is not by force, it's by his own sweet will to manifest his presence. So when Krishna came, all his plenary expansions came with him. So this is part of the great mystery of Krishna's appearance, how he took birth simultaneously from Devaki and Yashoda. And that's why, mysteriously, when the daughter is in the prison, Yashoda's daughter is now in the prison, and Kamsa is informed by his soldiers, Devaki has given birth. So Kamsa rushes to the prison cell. He's a madman. And Devaki pleads with him, don't kill her, don't kill her, don't kill her. Devaki is protecting the daughter of Yashoda like it's her own daughter. Don't kill her, I promise she'll marry one of your sons when she's older. Don't kill her. And you know what Kamsa does. He grabs the infant, newborn infant by the ankles and tries to smash her head against the wall. But before he can do that, she flies up out of his hands into the air and shows herself as Durga. And that really sets Kamsa back. Durga. Because demons like worshiping Durga. So the Bhagavatam describes that this appearance of Durga Devi is described as the younger sister of Krishna, meaning she's born after Krishna to Yashoda. That's the hint. Okay. She's Subhadra. She's the Yogamaya potency, but externally to demons, Yogamaya appears as Mahamaya. So we can go on and on, but any questions? Yes.
Balaram Purnima, you said you pray to Balaram to strength to carry Krishna's, to be able to carry Krishna's instructions.
Janmastami what?
carry. What do you mean?
Can't hear.
Krishna for?
So on Balaram's appearance day, we pray for the strength. Balaram, your spiritual strength. Please give us the strength to carry Krishna's instructions. On Janmastami, we pray to be aware of Krishna's instructions and act upon them. So we can take strength from Balaram to do that. And we can also remember Krishna is Go Raksha, cow protection, and Balaram is Krisi Raksha, land protection. That's why we sing Govinda Jai Jai, Gopala Jai Jai. As I often point out, the main reason why we protect cows is not simply to get the miracle food of milk, but it's because cows are Krishna's pets. This is personalism. Krishna likes cows, we like cows. Krishna cares for cows, we care for cows. That's the primary reason. Then secondary is the cows give such wonderful food, milk. They're so gentle. Yes.
You said that Krishna takes birth from the womb to bewilder the atheists. Bewilder the atheists.
He seems to take birth biologically, but he doesn't. But an atheist would think that. Well, you're coming from the womb. We know what that's like. You were present when your wife gave birth? So you would think, well, Krishna comes from the womb. It was like that.
You also said it was like, I can't quite remember the words, but you said it was like his kindness to these atheists to give them that.
It's hard to hear.
I can just say without the mic. You said it was like his kindness to the atheists to give them that.
It's his kindness to the atheists to give them material ground to stand on. You want to think I'm mundane? How about this? I took birth.
Why should the Lord be so kind to these atheists?
To fulfill their desires. Krishna fulfills everyone's desires, whether sura or asura. He's in everyone's heart, causing remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. If you want to be an asura, if you want to be demoniac, you must get help from Krishna. And if you want to be a sura, pious person, you need help from Krishna. So if you want to be a demon, Krishna's in your heart. Just telling you, forget about me, I'm just mundane. He's helping you. He's helping you to forget him. And if you want to be a sura, if you want to be a pious person, you need Krishna's help to remember him. So one class of persons, he's helping to forget him. Other class of persons, he's helping to remember them according to their desire. We're so powerless, you see, all we can do is desire. We can't fulfill our own desires. We don't have that potency. We can pretend that we're fulfilling our desires, which is like enjoying the objects in a dream. You can pretend, oh, I'm doing this, I'm getting that. But you're actually like sleepwalking. You ever sleepwalk? You're caught up in the illusory energy. So unless Krishna helps you fulfill your desires, you can't do it. That's how tiny we are. So the demoniac persons, they need help. Yes, Krishna gives them the bewildered intelligence. I'm just mundane. Don't you see I took birth? You took birth, I took birth. It's all the same. And for those who are devotees, you have Srimad Bhagavatam explaining that Krishna never undergoes any biological process of birth. He's in the core of everyone's heart. He's in every atom. He can come out as he likes. But the Bhagavatam does give you insight into the process. Krishna appears in the consciousness, the heart of Vasudeva, and then transfers himself to the consciousness of Devaki, and then appears outside of her. Anything else? Danya, you have a question?
Krishna consciousness.
You want to know what?
Krishna consciousness.
What does Krishna consciousness mean?
What does Krishna consciousness mean? It means the state of being conscious of Krishna. The mentality, the consciousness of Krishna, that's what it means. What are you conscious of? But when you're here in the temple room, what are you conscious of? You're praying to Krishna. That's Krishna consciousness. Very good. What are you praying for?
Just to get the blessings from him.
To get the blessings from Krishna. And what will you do with those blessings?
Just use it to do service.
Very good. You want to do devotional service. Very good. Yes. Nama Prabha. Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, I was trying to understand. I know you mentioned that Mother Yashoda's love for Krishna was perfect, and you also mentioned that she didn't have understanding that Krishna was the personality, the supreme personality of Godhead. So, was her love perfect because in not understanding that Krishna was the supreme personality of Godhead, she didn't understand Krishna's unlimited potency, so her love was more genuine because of that?
More natural. No element of awe and reverence. Just think. Would you like to be worshipped 24/7, 7 days a week? It gets boring. So Krishna says like this in Chaitanya Charitamrita. This constant praise of me, awe and reverence, recitation of my glories doesn't please me as much as when my friends climb on my shoulders and say, "You're no big man at all." Or my lovers chastise me, "You playboy." It's more fun. Suppose, we can give you as an example, suppose your fiance, Baba Prabhas, simply telling you all the time how great you are. You are so fantastic, you are so wonderful, just nonstop. What would you say after a while?
Enough.
Enough, let's just have some sweet talks, right? Tell me how we can have sweet talks, sweet dealings. Forget all this. You are so great. You are so strong. You make so much money. Anything else? You have to sing out. You're way in the back.
Thank you, Maharaj, for the class. My question is about Yashoda's birth. Yashoda
Yeah.
giving birth to Krishna. We read from all these stories, we know for each of the stories there's a backstory. We understand how Devaki and Vasudeva in a previous incarnation have performed some great penances. And when the Lord appeared to them, he asked them for what the benediction they want. And they said, we want you to come as our baby.
We want to, what's that?
As our baby.
Saying they asked the Lord that they want a baby like him. And he said that he gave them the benediction that yes, I will come as your baby. And we understand Yashoda and Nanda also have performed penance. The Lord appeared to them and he asked them, what do you want? And they said, we want to bring you out as our baby.
The residents of Goloka Vrindavan have expansions. This is explained in Brihad Bhagavatamrita. So Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, Vasudeva Devaki, they're Nitya Siddha, they're eternally perfect. But they have expansions. They have Vaikuntha counterparts. They have also counterparts that are in the world of demigods. So it's a very complicated science. You can read more about it in Brihad Bhagavatamrita. The BBT has published a very wonderful edition of Brihad Bhagavatamrita, and it explains these things. It's very intricate. How Yashoda and Nanda can have expansions in Vaikuntha and expansions in the world of the demigods. And so it's these expansions that you hear about that are undergoing the austerities. Whereas the original Nanda Maharaj, Devaki, Vasudeva, they're always in the spiritual world. But it's their expansions that undergo these austerities and seem to be practicing devotional service in order to have Krishna as their child. Okay?
But actually, the reason I was asking this question is Yashoda had the opportunity to bring Krishna out as a baby. And Devaki had the opportunity to give birth to Krishna. And based on, even though now, based on the explanation we are giving, I understand that those who perform the austerity were just expansions. They are expansions of the original Yashoda. So the benediction that they were giving, I mean, we know that whenever Krishna performs an activity, whenever Krishna shows something, even though he has the will to do anything, but sometimes he creates a scene for us to, we mortals, to understand the entire scenario. So how come the ones, even though they were expansion, that asked for the benediction to bring him out, and the other one that asked for the benediction to give birth to him? But now we are hearing also that the one who wanted to bring him out also gave birth to him. That's why I wanted.
They merge. At the time of Krishna's appearance, the expansions merge into Vasudeva, Devaki, Nanda, and Yashoda. You read Brihad Bhagavatamrita. They have counterparts. This is a spiritual world.
Thank you.
You can't do this. You can't have an expansion that's working and selling flowers and while you're at home resting. But the residents of the spiritual world can do that. So when Krishna finishes his earthly pastimes, these expansions of his Vaikuntha associates go back to the heavenly planets, or they go to Vaikuntha. Whereas The originals are always with Krishna and his Leela. Anything else? Yes. I'm glad you are also interested in Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Maharaj. Of course, it's said in the scriptures that in one day of Lord Brahma, Krishna happens. Now, what I want to know is, are we saying this only in regards to the Earth planet or all other planets within the universe? And
Hold on, one at a time. Every day of Brahma's in charge of one universe. So in 11 o'clock, approximately every day, Krishna appears. And then in the next yuga, after that Dwarka yuga, which Krishna appears, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears. So Krishna doesn't have to conform to a schedule, but he's out of mercy, he's saying, this is how I do it. He's not forced to do it that way. But just to give you some vision of how he does and what he does. This is my schedule. Just like you could make your own schedule, but you're not forced to stick to it. It's not like going to work. You got to be there at a certain time. Krishna has to be there at this time. But out of his mercy, he's saying, I'll come at this time. You can depend on that.
Thank you.
So you happen to be on the planet in the universe that Swayam Bhagavan Krishna has appeared. You happen to be on that planet in this universe. Now what are you going to do? You lucked out. You're here on the planet in the universe that Krishna has appeared 5,000 years ago, and a little more than 500 years ago, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. So who can calculate your good fortune?
I'm realizing how fortunate I am, but I'm also a little concerned about others who may not be as fortunate as I am on other planets within the same universe.
On other?
I mean,
when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was touring South India, residents of other planets would come disguised as human beings and take the Sankirtan movement back to their planets. So in that way, by Lord Chaitanya touring South India, he set off the Sankirtan movement throughout the universe.
so that would mean that this Earth planet is very, very significant. But
Yes, it's very significant that even the devatas, the demigods, want to take birth on the earth planet because you can go back to Godhead very quickly. Whereas in the 5th canto Bhagavatam, the demigods say, this heavenly planet's life is too much, it's too intense, we'll never go back to Godhead. The pleasures are too great. We want to take birth on earth, where after a short life, we can go back to Godhead. So here you are.
thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you for being here.
Hare Krishna, Gurudev. You had mentioned Yoga Maya opened all the doors of the prison so that Vasudeva could take Krishna.
Yoga Maya arranges in Krishna's pastimes. Krishna doesn't worry about all these things. He has energies that take care of all these situations.
I was wondering, why does he not take his wife with him and just escape altogether and go somewhere else?
What he's doing is impelled by Yoga Maya, And he's following Krishna's instruction also, who says, take me to Braj. Because Krishna wants to go there to expand the loving affairs of Rag. Love of Krishna without any awareness of his opulences. These are all eternal associates of Krishna. They're playing their part. So it's not like, I gotta get out of here. Here's my chance. Forget this pastime. He's doing his part in Krishna Lila. Take Krishna to Braj. Just like Indra thought he was doing his part. I gotta cover the great escape. I've gotta cover this. I'll cause so much rain to come. And then Indra realized the situation's under control. He doesn't have to do that. So he diminished the rain. Of course, the Shastra tells us, while Vasudeva is carrying Krishna across the Yamuna, he drops Krishna. Can you imagine? Brand new infant, you drop in the river. This is Krishna wanting to swim in the Yamuna. Any questions on this side? All right, thank you very much. Hare Krishna.